Welcome back to the Big Red of the B Schneid Show. I got a very special guest, the latest commitment for Nebraska out of the 2027 class, four-star wide receiver Tay Ellis. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well. So you visited Nebraska for the USC game and then committed. What really just stood out for you to commit so quickly after visiting Lincoln?
I feel like what stood out to me was just the people. Me and Coach Rhule, we was having a conversation on why he, didn't take the job and nowhere else in college football, and he just straight up told me the people. So, when I sat down with him and he said that, it marinated into my brain, and I really had a strong feeling about, the people is why I committed. So, I would say the biggest thing about my commitment is just the people in Lincoln. It's different. It's second to none around, the whole country.
You held offers from pretty much anywhere, from Notre Dame, Texas, USC, Oregon. You could have gone pretty much wherever you wanted. What about that blackout atmosphere really stood out compared to other schools?
Yeah, it was different. Like you said, I hold offers from everywhere in the country. So I've been probably everywhere in the country, but Nebraska, the people and the atmosphere were just different. I feel as though you had to be there and to really see, the atmosphere. It was probably second to none in the whole country.
How was the overall peer relationship you had on that visit? I know Trey Taylor's been such a peer recruiter. I even believe I saw you tweet out that you're thinking about starting a podcast with Trey. But who else besides Trey have you been able to really connect with?
I've been able to really connect with Ahmad and Amir. Him Trey recruiting us, pretty hard. Us just being able to talk on the phone often. So those are my guys now. Arguably probably look at them like brothers now. So even if they don't end up coming to Nebraska, I still look at them like family.
What just stood out about Daikiel Schwartz, your new position, or who will be your position coach once you come to Lincoln?
Yeah, what stood out was just his development at the receiver position. I mean, he's coming from the SEC. Many people say SEC is the best conference in college football. So him coming from the SEC. Now he's in the Big Ten and now he's at Nebraska. I feel as though he could develop me into the next great wide receiver.
And with Dana and Coach Rule, and Daikiel, where do they really vision you? Do they see you more as a slot? I mean, looking at your film, you played a lot of looks like X and Z two. Really you're a go route type of guy. But where do you think that you'll likely fit in once you get to Lincoln?
Well, Coach Hogerson and Coach Schwartz just told me, I'll play everywhere. I'll play a slot. I'll play outside. I'll play even some running back for mismatches. So I can play anywhere on the field.
So growing up, was there any player that you really modeled your game after that you looked up to?
I would say growing up, I modeled my game after Daikiel. Just because I wasn't really super young when I started playing football. I started playing at like 11. So growing up, seeing him on the Chiefs and seeing him being fast and explosive. I modeled my game after Daikiel.
When you look at how Nebraska utilizes their offense right now, guys like Ja'Cory Barney, do you kind of look at him and see how they're using him, and just how does that excite you?
I look at them a lot, since and not even just because I'm committed, but I looked at them, even when I wasn't committed, just to see their offense, just to see their scheme, and just to see how they get the best receiver the ball. I mean, they get Ja'Cory the ball, pretty often, and he has a different type of scheme at Nebraska that many other colleges don't do. So I've been looking at them.
When you look at sorry, okay, so with the Trey Taylor, the peer recruiting, back to that, how pivotal in this day and age with NIL revenue sharing now in college, how pivotal is it to peer recruit and especially using social media?
Yeah, I feel as though it's very crucial just because many guys think NIL is the main basis of committing and going to a school, but I feel as though it's the people and the recruitment. Trey, he's my guy and he's been recruiting me super hard these last couple of months of. So yeah, I feel as though the peer recruiting is very crucial to your decision.
So I believe you tweeted out a couple days ago after your last game, there was some Nebraska fans that showed up with a sign for you. Can you explain what that was? Did you know they were going to be there, or is that you just see that after the game?
No, man. I didn't know they was gonna be there. That's actually their second game them coming to. So that was special for me. But when I take it back to when you asked me why I committed, the people. I mean, the people make the place, and that's truly special. That people like that are coming from Lincoln that can come way down to Texas just to support me and just to watch a high school game. Like many other fan bases don't have that type of experience or have that exposure, but Nebraska does. They're all around. They're all around the world, from east to west to south to north. I mean, you'll find a Nebraska fan just walking anywhere. So I feel as though it's the people, and that was a very special moment for me.
So you said the atmosphere at Memorial was wild, and then you've talked really highly of the Nebraskan people. But I'm curious, were you expecting Lincoln to be as big as it was, the
I
city?
Listen, I actually wasn't. I was talking with my mom, the other day when we first got down there. I was like, man, it's crazy because many people get the perception that Nebraska's gonna be cornfields and all type of different things. But when I first got down there and I saw like the city field and how big it was and how big the stadium was, it was crazy. I just feel like it was a city.
So when Nebraska was kind of coming after you in the Penn State rule to Penn State stuff, when he signed that contract, you kind of iterated at it early on, but to have a coach just fully locked in for through 2032 beyond when you'd already graduate and everything, just how um, beneficial is that for you when you were going to be making your decision?
I feel as though it's special because a lot of head coaches, choose the money. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of head coaches choose the money, and Coach Rule, he's real. He's authentic with his people. He loves his players, and he chose to stay in Nebraska for a reason. And he told me it was because of the people, and I truly bought into that, and I truly feel as though that's why he stayed in Nebraska.
So I haven't even asked you, what was your impressions of the weight room, the therapy pool, just the whole entire practice facilities and recovery?
It was amazing. Going like I said, going up there, I didn't think that it would be like a city field. I thought it was gonna be all cornfields. I also thought my perception of Nebraska was I mean, they was gonna have just a standard stadium, just a standard training facility. But no, I mean it blew my mind. When people say that Nebraska has the best training facilities in the world, I mean I can account for that and say that that's true. They have the number one, facilities in the world. You're not going to see anything like it when you get up there in Nebraska.
So are you currently scheduled then to be an early enrollee after next season?
Yes, I am.
So you'd be coming in January then, I'm assuming, the Lincoln, or are you coming
Yes, sir.
sooner?
Yeah, I'll probably graduate in December and come in January.
So wanted to get to, have you got to talk to Jabari as well, being another receiver in your class?
Jabari, Jabari.
Watkins.
Um, no, I really haven't, got to talk to him. Some people say that his commitment, shocked the whole country. It was crazy because he's never been down there, but I really don't. I really don't know him too personally or too well.
I gotcha. And then oh yeah. So when you were growing up as a kid, did you ever turn on and watch any Nebraska football games at all? Do you recall?
When I was growing up as a kid, I really didn't watch much of football because I really wasn't that good. I started off as I moved to Texas and started off on the O line. So I really wasn't that talented. So I really didn't watch much of football. But Nebraska has a lot of history that people tell me about. So I'm definitely ready to make my own history here.
You said so. Did you play O line and Pee Wee, or
Mhm. Yeah,
how,
I
how
did.
did how did that benefit you now being a skill position player, learning the ins and outs of playing at the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, I feel like it made me more hungry. I would definitely feel like that it made me, who I am today. I feel like it made me a more aggressive receiver. So that's how I feel, my offensive line, journey made me.
Lastly, I want to ask you. So Nebraska currently has the number one or the fourth ranked overall recruiting class for 2027 via On Three. How much pride do you carry that you guys are currently in the top five with the ceiling to keep climbing?
It carries a lot just because class of 2026 class isn't really high that people make it seem to be, but going into my junior year, Coach Williams told me that he's going to recruit the best class in the country, and that hasn't been a lie. I mean, we got Trey, we got me, we got Jabari, and we got a lot of different guys that we're trying to recruit. You know, we're gonna get Amir. I think we're gonna get a mod. So we have a lot of different guys that we're going after there. We're definitely gonna get. So I mean, it stands out. I mean, we want to go the #1 recruiting class in the country, and that's what we'll do.
Well, Tay, I wish you the best of luck your rest of your season in Texas, and of course, a great senior season. And thank you so much for coming on. Be sure to follow Tay on Twitter as well. What's your exact handle again?
Santavius Ellis.
Okay. Be sure to follow Antavius Ellis on X, and stay tuned for more highlights coming his way. He's got a great huddle package of his junior season he's already released. I checked out. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. For Tay Ellis and Bobby Schneider, signing off.
Yes, sir.